This story was submitted by Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you for sharing your story. When I was 17, I went out with a bunch of friends to see a movie at the local mall. I didn't have my driver's license yet, but a friend of mine did, and they had access to the family van, so the 6 of us all carpooled together. Included in the group was a boy in my physics class named John. Gosh, I had a crush on him all year, and finally someone in my friend group had invited him to join us that evening. Looking back, both of us agree this was our first date. It may not have been official, but we say it was because how many people can say they saw a ghost on their first date together? Turns out, both John and I were super interested in the paranormal from a young age, so this first date agreement fits us perfectly. Back to the ghost story. After the movie was over, we all hit the drive-thru and drove around listening to music, talking, and really not wanting the evening to end. It was a lovely summer night and no one wanted to go home. I certainly didn't. We had just seen the movie Poltergeist 2, and John and I could have talked about all the scares, including that gross worm thing, all night. As we aimlessly cruised the neighborhoods, we found ourselves cutting through the local arboretum. There weren't many gates to close it off at night, but the trails were definitely supposed to be off limits after dusk. Suddenly, my friend parked the van. Apparently, we were going to go on a night hike adventure. Sorry, Mom, I could have been doing a lot worse. The 6 of us wandered up the trail, goofing off and joking that the creepy old man from the Poltergeist movie could be hiding behind any tree or shadow. I gotta admit, I was a little creeped out. A fact I didn't hide because it was a great excuse to hold on tight to John's arm. Plus, I had left my glasses at home. Call it typical teen angst, but I didn't want to wear them while out. I can see well enough, but on a real dark trail, I lose my distance vision really quick. All of a sudden, my friend in the front stops short and we almost bump into him. He freaks and panics and hisses for us to scatter as he jumps off the trail into the bushes. We all followed him, piling onto each other, and he whispered that he saw someone below coming up the trail towards us. We were all afraid it was the police and we were done for. As quietly as possible, we sat there, waiting and straining to hear something. Footsteps, talking, the sudden yell of someone commanding for us to come out with our hands up. Nothing. Literal crickets. My friend motions that he's gonna venture out and peek, and he does so. I watch him go out to the trail at a crouch, look down the hill, and then stand and just stare for a moment. A couple of blinks later, he shakes his head, turns to us with a completely frightened expression, and yells at us to run. He doesn't wait for us, though. He's suddenly booking it back to the van. Everyone starts running, and I can't see. Luckily, I have John's hand in a vice grip, and he pulls me up the trail. I glance behind me, and I see a glowing blob on the trail below. Honestly, it looked like a really blurry person in a glowing white dress making snow angel motions in the air. That unfocused, jumbled vision quickly disappeared behind me as I decided I'd better concentrate on the ground ahead of me, or I was going to break my neck. Inside the van, everyone was loudly talking over each other about what they saw. They insisted they saw a ghost. John turned to me excited and asked me what I saw. Dumbfounded and not quite sure what I glimpsed, I slowly raised my arms up and down from my sides. Everyone shouted their amazed agreement. My friend started the van and we headed home. We talked about it for days later. Except for Becky, she insisted she didn't see anything and refused to even hear someone bring it up. I don't talk to Becky anymore. John researched the area we were in and discovered that in the 1970s, a young woman had been murdered and her body was left in that arboretum. I truly believe we saw her ghost that night, signaling for us to help. I feel bad that we ran, and I hope that she has found peace. My fascination with the paranormal continues to this day. Same with John. We've been married 10 years, and I love it when he reads me ghost stories at night.